Hi, my name's Keely. I was born in Wichita, Kansas, grew up in Wichita, moved to Salina, Kansas when I was a teenager. I have enjoyed Salina being a smaller town, of course, but there are no other natives here, really. I always tell everybody there's 10 of us and 6 are in jail. But I enjoy things. I love to draw. I love to do beadwork. I love dancing at powwows when I get an opportunity. I have 3 kids, 7 grandchildren. I'm going to discuss today research, especially if you're researching your own family. A lot of people have contacted me about needing help with their family tree. So today I want to share with you how to do it and a cool trick I have about finding things that even other researchers did not realize this was possible. First of all, FamilySearch.org is a free site. You can get census records there. Census records are going to be your best records to get for your family. Ancestry.com is a good site, but it is a membership fee site and it is pricey. So just remember, FamilySearch.org is free, and a lot of the records that are in Ancestry are on Family Search. One thing you need to know if you go into these sites, other people have claimed to do research. Their research will be viewable, but a lot of people put things in that are not true, and that's why you have to do your own research and not follow someone else's. So one of the first things when you start your research, you want to make a chart. Yourself, and then your fraternal side, your father, your father's father, and your father's mother. Then you want to go to your maternal side, your mother, her maiden name, her father, and her mother. This will lay out your tree. Depending on how old you are, usually your grandfather's generation, this generation will be on the 1940 U.S. Census or the generation before. Those census records are going to tell you where they were born, when they were born, where their father was born, and where their mother was born. So there's really good information that you can follow on this. Family charts, you can buy family charts to fill out, or you can just go online, Google it, and you can get them for free. Free is always the best option. So once you do this, one of the most important things, my biggest trick that I use, comes from the 1910 census, and sometimes you can find these in 1920 census. It was the first time it was legal to enumerate in the United States Census Native American people. So 1900 census is very important because a lot of times you will get extra information on this census. The top part of this census is going to be general information. The bottom part of this census is going to tell you Indian information. So you have the Indian information. If you get to it and you're lucky enough, you may get your ancestor's Indian name. And this is important. So when you get that record, if you have an Indian name, and I'll use my own family member for example. If I want to search one of my family members and I want to find records that I'm not getting anywhere else because we're talking about an Indian name, you go to Google and you use a quote mark, put in their Indian name and quote mark it. You want to put it in quotation marks. That will tell the internet, that will tell Google to only search this term. Now, although the original name has dashes in it, you do not want that because that will just confuse it. Just do not use anything like that when you're searching it. If I want to, when I've done that, I've come up with records out of universities for my family that I would not have been able to find anywhere. Another thing you can do, if you do not have an Indian name and they got a common name. You can use their English name like that. Put in their English name, but behind the quote marks you want to put like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that will reduce your search down for this person with any word related to Tulsa. Now when you do these kind of searches like this with the quote marks, what you are going to get is a lot of hits. You need to take the time and go through those and make sure it's not something you are looking for. Because buried somewhere in a generic search like this is going to be links if he was mentioned in any historic records. And historic records, we could be talking about any university that does it. More than likely, Tulsa, you're going to be getting hits out of the University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State University, Oklahoma Newspaper Archives. So remember this trick. It's the best thing ever. So that's your most important thing. If you want to find a record in Ancestry and you do not have an account with Ancestry, many libraries, my local library, provides that service to their members. Newspapers.com, these others, many times a library will provide those services. If you have a membership to Ancestry, it does search newspapers.com. However, if you can get it free and support your local library at the same time, that's the best thing to do. But I cannot say enough for Google. But like I said, never ever follow anyone else's tree. Do your own tree. Because you're going to be getting information for you. You're going to be documenting your own information and not relying on somebody else's documentation. If someone else has information that might be true, contact them and ask them, do you have documentation for this record? When I've done the quote search on my grandfather, I'll tell you this, I found his marriage record. He didn't marry in Oklahoma. He married in Montgomery County, Kansas. So, sorry to jump back to that, but that part was important to me to find my grandparents' marriage record. You know, here they lived up by Tulsa, but they married in Kansas. I would never have found that or known that had I not done that Google search with quote marks. But remember, no punctuations at all in your search. In Kansas, if your ancestors are Shawnee and they come from Kansas, there is a record. They list it as the 1857 Shawnee Census. However, when you get into that census, the very first page will tell you it's 1854 Shawnee Census. If you can get into those records, they are full of information. Some of them will tell you this is so-and-so's niece, or they live over here with these other people because they're orphans. It's really interesting. So if you get a chance, I actually have the whole census printed out in a book. I keep it, I consider it my Shawnee Bible, because that's usually the first place I go to if somebody asks about one of their ancestors. I go to my book. But that's usually available online. If you cannot find it online, you can go to your local library and do an interlibrary loan. Find out, Google the 1857 Shawnee Census is how it's listed. And it will tell you the libraries that have that census, and you can borrow it library to library and see what that is. Genealogy Societies, they are great. They are going to have records and books that you're not going to be able to find in other places. So don't ever overlook your Genealogical Society. Usually their memberships are like $20 a year, a lot cheaper than using Ancestry. So, and a lot of times they have a membership to Ancestry that you can use. So that's always good. Don't ever overlook any genealogical society. If your family's from there, they might even already have records on your family. So, as I said, if there's any questions, any ideas, go ahead and contact me. I'm open. Thank you.